In today's video, I'm going to be discussing how a recession is almost certain in 2024, as 19 states are already struggling and we're starting to see some major contraction on the national level as well. I have all those details for you here in this video. Let's get into it and discuss what's going on. Alright, so across the entire country right now, there are multiple different signs pointing toward a major recession a little bit later in 2024. Now, as I film this video right now, we're in the middle of 2024 and we're only about a quarter and a half, maybe 2 quarters away from a major recession hitting the economy right here in the United States and probably globally as well, as we're seeing multiple different signs. I want to point some of those out for you here in this video. And again, what this all means for all of us, because here's the thing, we've been going through this major situation for the last couple of years now of high inflation. The Federal Reserve has been coming in, raising interest rates aggressively since March of 2022. Even though the last several meetings here, they've been pausing and holding rates steady, they've also talked about coming back and raising even further. That'd be a really bad situation, and that would crush the economy like very fast, right? Either way, I want to run through some of the data points that are out there right now showing 19 states are already struggling and showing signs of a major recession. And when we see this many states struggling this much, pretty much we point to a major recession across the entire country that is almost inevitable. So I want to get into it and talk through all the details. Now, first off, we need to look at a major factor that I've talked about many times in other videos, which is unemployment, okay? In my honest opinion, based on everything that goes on, this is possibly one of the most important economic factors and economic data points that I always watch and that we need to watch very closely, because the unemployment numbers, not only on the state-by-state level, but on the national level as well, paint a very, very clear picture as to the health of the economy across the entire country and each individual state as well. I've said that many times before. The unemployment number is a very important one. It gives us a lot of information about the entire economy, things like this, because here's the thing. Let me explain this really quickly. When the unemployment rate goes up, what does that simply mean? It shows that businesses are, number one, not hiring. Number two, they're probably laying off or reducing their workforce. And it simply means when people are out of work and the unemployment rate is going up, it simply means that the economy is contracting, right? Businesses are contracting because they're foreseeing a major storm on the horizon. They're laying people off. They're, not having the sales. They're not having the margins. They're not having the revenue. Therefore, they can't employ as many people. Therefore, they start laying people off. And again, when that starts to happen, it's kind of like a snowball effect. Think of like a little, snowball starting at the top of a mountain. Starts very small and slow, but then all of a sudden it's only 1 or 2 snowflakes that boom, basically trigger the whole thing, and there goes the whole thing going down, right? So it starts out relatively slow, but this is how the whole thing happens every single time. Just think of it like a snowball effect, right? Starts out very slow and small, and then it starts rolling, and that sucker gets big, right? Fast, right? So that's kind of where we're sitting at right now. But, okay, so I wanted to explain that really quickly, but now let's talk about what's going on in these 19 states. So we've seen over the last 3 months running. Now, again, I know only 3 months is not that long, but it's starting to show, right? Here's what we're seeing. Over the last 3 months running here, 19 states out there have already increased their unemployment by half a percentage point. So 0.5%, half a percentage point is how much unemployment has gone up just across 19 states. Now, again, I know that doesn't seem like much, but it's a lot of states that are accounting for this, and a major percentage of the GDP across the entire country accounting for this. So we'll have to continue watching here what happens over the coming months, but we're seeing that unemployment is rising across 19 states, at least a half a percentage point right now, as of right now. Now get this as well. Across the entire country, so from April 2023 through April of 2024, unemployment has gone up half a percentage point, again, across the entire country nationally, right? So back in April of 2023, unemployment was sitting at 3.4%. That's low. I mean, that's like really low, right? That's great. However, back as of April of this year, 2024, 1 year later, unemployment is now sitting at 3.9%. Again, that's still historically very low when it comes down to it, but we're moving the wrong way. We're not holding steady. We're not continuously going down, but rather unemployment is going up, right? So when it comes down to a recession, this is, again, one of the major factors that I talk about all the time, which is we need to continue watching the unemployment numbers. I've said this so many times. I pound the table on this thing. This is probably the number one factor that when it comes down to gauging a recession, how big it's going to be, how bad it's going to be, how big is that big old wolf going to be when he comes out of his little, red suit. You know what I'm saying? That's literally what it comes down to, okay? So anyway, this unemployment data is very, very important. Now, the other statistics are showing this much, okay? A recession typically hits about 10 months on average after the Federal Reserve starts hiking interest rates. Well, guess what? They started hiking interest rates when? March of 2022. As of right now, we are currently sitting about 9 quarters after they started hiking interest rates back in March of 2022, okay? So here we are, mid-2024. We are 9 quarters in, okay? So that simply means that we're about a quarter and a half, maybe 2 quarters away from this major big bad wolf coming out of his shell called a recession. Not bad, right? Okay? So this is what else is going on. Now remember, Federal Reserve has been holding interest rates steady, high. Their last, 8 or 9 meetings here, they've come in and held interest rates high, between 5.25 and 5.5% is where they've been holding steady for the last 8 or 9 meetings now, okay? This is a very high situation where interest rates are very elevated. What is lending going on right now, right? Banks are really, really cutting back on lending. And not only that, if anybody's lucky enough to get any money out of a bank right now, as in through lending, what are they paying? They're paying massive interest rates. It's nuts, right? No wonder why everybody's struggling so badly right now is because interest rates are ridiculously high. Credit card debt is going through the roof. We're racking up credit card debt about $1.3 trillion in credit card debt. That's nuts. That's crazy. No wonder why. Nobody has any money. We're floating balances on credit cards. We're racking up national debt. We're racking up personal debt. It's not a good situation, right? And remember this much as well. All of this debt has to be purged at some point. It can't just continue racking up forever. It's not sustainable. It is not sustainable whatsoever. At some point, we've got to purge the system called a major recession, take everything down, flush everything out, and then start over. That's literally the point of a recession. Well, I shouldn't say the point. That is what, it's not like people plan, like, oh, we're going to flush out everything and we're going to have a recession to reset. But that's literally what a recession does, right? A recession comes in, think of it like a big reset button. It's like, boink, you reset on the economy, everything goes down, a lot of things get flushed out, a lot of things get purged out of the system, and then we start over and we start fresh. That's literally what a recession does. But there's a lot of different factors that are pointing toward this right now, and not a good situation. But these are some of them that I'm watching. And again, I just want to say this again. I've said it a few times already. We need to continue watching the unemployment numbers, okay? This is so important. We only get the unemployment numbers as represented by the non-farm payroll number once per month, the first Friday of every month, released at, 8:30 a.m. East Coast time the first Friday of every month. Is when we get that number. And again, this is a very, very key number right now because we're starting to see these contractions, and just remember the snowball effect, okay? It starts out slow. We're seeing it across 19 states right now, and this is why this recession is almost inevitable. Now, again, remember, if we do see a major recession, everybody has their own opinion on this. In my opinion, I think a recession would be great. Why? Because again, it resets the economy. As of right now, we've been seeing this massive inflation for all these years now. They continue to tell us, inflation's going down. No, inflation's not going down. Just the high readings are rolling off the back end, bringing the averages down. That's all it's literally doing, okay? Prices have not come down, okay? All it's doing is that inflation is progressing, or inflation is rising less rapidly than it was a couple years ago or a year and a half ago. That's it. So prices are still elevated. Prices have not come down on anything. Prices are still elevated. It's just inflation is not rising as rapidly as it did. That's why it makes it look like inflation's going down. No, it's not. It's just not rising as rapidly as it did a year and a half, 2 years ago, things like that. Okay, that's why the inflation numbers look a lot better. It's not really better, right? So anyway, something's got to give here, something's going to crack, something's going to break, and it's going to be a bad picture for a little while, okay? But then, on the other side, we see sunny skies, rainbows, butterflies, fields full of daisies, and all kinds of good stuff like that, right? Whatever you see on the other side of a recession, I don't know. You get my point though, right? It'll be good. At the end of the day, it'll flush out a lot of this inflation that's out there right now. The Federal Reserve will be aggressively cutting interest rates. They'll bring those down. They'll loosen up lending standards. It'll make it easier to borrow money. It'll be easier to get credit, things like this, because that's what happens during a major recession is they get desperate and they do whatever they can to get more money plowed into the system. And again, another thing too, when a recession hits, typically what do? They print up hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars and they push it out in the form of massive amounts of free handout money in the form of stimulus checks, enhanced unemployment benefits, PPP, money for businesses. They have the EIDL grants. Well, that's probably not going to be a thing this time because it's not like that type of situation. But my point is tons and tons and tons of free money just doling out everywhere. Here, take this money, go spend it, do something quick, spend it fast, right? They do the same thing every single time, right? So we'll have to see what happens here. But yeah, we got a lot of major recession factors pointing in, and this is what we're looking at as of right now. So I'll continue to keep you posted on this, but I've been talking about this for a long time now, and again, I want to say this again. I've said it so many times so far in this video. It starts slow. It starts very slow. It's a slow process to start, but once the ball gets a rolling, okay, it starts to propel quickly, and when it starts going fast, it's hard to get out of the way of that thing. See what I'm saying here? Anyway, I'll keep you posted. Hope this helps you to some degree. Again, make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. I will keep you posted on everything that I'm finding out there. Otherwise, stay tuned. Share the video with your friends on my social media. There's a share button down below. Again, join the other 500,000 people here on the channel, or nearly 500,000 here on the channel that have already subscribed to the channel. Check out some of the videos and leave your comments, questions, feedback down below. Until next time, I'll see you again later.